Okay, I want to talk about a common trait of those with Asperger syndrome have taking things literally. I have Asperger syndrome, and one thing that we do sometimes is take things literally. Especially in the English language, in English or American culture, there's a lot of metaphors and figures of speech and all that. And over time, we understand those with us on the autism spectrum. We eventually figure it out. But I remember when I was a kid, and I can remember like it was yesterday. I think it was like 8 or 9 years old. Yeah, this is like 30, 32, 33 years ago. We had a Doberman Pinscher, and we called him Rhett. And he was outside, tied up, and my dad, we he was watering the plants, and he had the hose out. He handed me the hose, and he said, go water the dog. So what did I do? I took the hose and I started spraying Rhett, with the hose. My my dad got such a kick out of that, and he told my mom and everything. And looking back at it now, of course he meant don't physically water the dog. Don't actually spray the dog. You know, put water in his bowl so he can have water to drink. And even at the time, I just never really dawned on me. I mean, I never really thought, oh, okay, until like years later, I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, that's funny. But that's one thing with those on the autism spectrum. We take things literally. Um, doesn't mean we're dumb. It's just just a different way of thinking. We tend to look at the tree and not the forest, and we take things verbally, one thing at a time. And so when someone cognitively tells us something, we don't necessarily take it as a figure of speech or something. And I was reading on here. There's several examples of that. Um, you know, one thing is one example is two people are about to cross the street, and there had been an accident on the street. Cars had been going really fast up and down it, and one person tells the other who has Asperger syndrome, you need to look at the road. So instead of like looking both ways, make sure no cars coming, they're physically looking at the road. Another one is where you know a school class is taking a biology class is taking a field trip, and they all have clipboards. The teacher hands out clipboards to all the students, and one of the students doesn't have a clipboard, and the student has Asperger's, and she tells the teacher, says, "Hey, I don't have a clipboard. I don't know how to. I got paper, but I don't know how to write the notes." And the teacher says, "Well, just write on someone's back." Well, you know, most people would think, "Hey, take the piece of paper and write the notes on the paper on someone's back." Well, of course, what's the person with Asperger's does? The person who takes things literally, they literally think, pull the person's shirt up and actually write on their bare back on their skin, you know, and it's it's not a joke. It's the way we think. Um, Another one would be uh, like, you know, hey, you need to hand something to the principal on the other side in the other room. So you need to walk through the door and hand them what you need to hand them. And the Asperger syndrome, the person with Asperger syndrome, well, how do I walk through a door? How do I walk through a piece of wood? No, it doesn't mean you actually walk through the door. It means you just go to the other room. So these are little funny. These are little funny. These are little funny examples of people taking things literally. Those on the autism spectrum. In Europe, a lot of times they call the bathroom the toilet. They don't. It says, "Hey, I got to go to the toilet." They even do that here in the U.S. And so, teacher tells the kids, "Hey, go wash your hands in the toilet." So what's the student do? Instead of just going in there and washing their hands in the sink, no, they physically go in there into the toilet and wash their hands in the physical toilet. Now, does that mean that we're stupid? No. It just means that we take things literally. So when you communicate with us, you have to be specific. You have to be, when you mean something, when you say something, you have to really mean what you say. There can't be any physical speech. Now, that's mostly for kids. As we get older, we start to understand the different meanings of different things. But especially when you're a kid, you do tend to take things literally. All right, so that's trait number one.